Good morning, everyone. I'm feeling a bit vulnerable. I mean that in a good way. Last night, my wife and I got in a little bit of a disagreement, and we just saw things differently. And I wanted to go to bed. I don't like to go to bed with carrying any thoughts of frustration. I was mostly good, actually. She was not. And so I went up there to just have a conversation with her and, just kind of clear the air. And she was sleeping. I tried to be a little noisy in my walking, to try to wake her up a little bit. But she was either sleeping or ignoring. I'm not sure which. And so I got up this morning and I got a call from Holly that said, "Hey, I'm not feeling well." And I said, "Yeah, I'm happy to step in, So I thought, well, before I get on the road, I would really like to clear this up. I don't want to carry anything with me, especially doing the talk this morning. And so anyhow, I just said, sorry if we saw things differently. And, she was feeling, the way I communicated something, she was feeling diminished from it. And so we just, we had an exchange, and I'm like, well, this isn't going exactly the way I wanted it to. And then as we begin to kind of just air things out, let it go, we began to see really what the truth is. What are we arguing about, Who's even arguing? Who's even arguing? Is it me that's arguing? Is it her that's arguing? Or is it our personal idea of who we think we are has been offended? There's a verse in the Course in Miracles that said, the truth of who you are can never be diminished. The truth of who you are can never be diminished. Who are we? There's some teachings that just offer just the simple question to keep asking, who am I? Just keep asking yourself, who am I? We've talked about this a lot, but I want to go a little deeper because I've been having a deeper experience for myself lately. And that is, on my way over, I was, generally, I don't practice my talks anyhow. I don't write anything down. You guys know that. But my mind still wants to fill the gaps in, right? Like, okay, come up with a title and give us at least some structure here, So my mind was very busy on the ride over, which is, close to an hour. And I was noticing how busy it was, but I was also noticing it, just noticing it, and not needing to change any of the thoughts. I would be pulled into it. It's like, I'm noticing I'm a little bit nervous this morning. And then I would be pulled into that as my person saying, I am nervous. But it wasn't me. And when I had the wherewithal to come back and just allow the nervousness to be there, allowing the vulnerability to be there, and just allowing God to bring me whatever thoughts, whatever feelings, whatever experiences God wanted to bring me, and not resist or fight it. And so that's what I found myself doing, and I found myself starting to, this excitement, this nervous excitement beginning to well up, like, ooh, I wonder where this will go. And my person was like, I wonder where this is going to go, And so this is the game of life. It's interesting. I think you've heard me say this before, but I find it really interesting how we can fall asleep and we can be in this dream state and we can have this dream, but we open our eyes and realize it was all a dream. But what many and most in the world can't realize is that when we open our eyes, it's still another dream. It doesn't make sense to us because we are entering this position, this posture that I am the one who has opened my eyes. And so we begin to enter into another dream, which seems much more lucid and real. But is it? We say we're well, I need to figure this out. I need to think about this. I need to do this. I need to do that. Who is this I? Are we in control of our thoughts? Are we in control of our thoughts? Are we in control of the thought that says, I'm not enough? Are we in control of the thought that says, you're not enough? And I need the world to be this way in order to be happy. Are we? Are we in control of that? Because these are the things that we have to really ponder if we're going to step beyond this identification with the body and mind, that it is trapping us over and over. And by the way, it's okay. This is the game of life. It pulls us in. Why does it pull us in? It pulls us in because we were raised from a very young age and taught all these kinds of things, and we identified with them as this self-image of who we are. But we have to dig a little deeper. And digging a little deeper means to really question, am I the one who is in control of my thoughts? There's a song that I like by CeeLo Green, and it's called Crazy. And I don't know if you've ever listened to the words of it or if you know the song, but it says, I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch, but it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Right? And if you'd like, afterwards, I'm happy to sing that for you, although you probably don't want that. You would say no if you've heard me sing. But this is the trap. I don't even want to use the word trap. This is kind of the game of life where we keep grasping all these things to come back to a place of what we all want to experience is just peace and joy, right? That's what we all want to experience. We want peace and joy and love. So we go on this quest, this beautiful quest that leads us to reading books, following a guru, listening to talks online, going to speakers, even coming here. And it's all beautiful and it's all perfect. But, it's like, I can't remember if I said this last week or not. For most of you were probably here. I spoke last week too, so I hope I didn't say this before. I think I did, and it's okay. Robert Adams was saying, like, when we're first born and we start experiencing life, we're like kind of questioning, does God exist or not? And then we begin to, if we explore a spiritual path, we begin to say, okay, if God does exist, then I'm going to pray to God. And so we're praying to some God that is sitting on a throne somewhere. We don't know where. No one's figured that out yet. But is sitting on a throne, and we're looking outside of ourselves. And we're like, no. Something is missing with that. Is there something else? So then as we begin to explore, there's these thoughts coming in. These thoughts that are coming in to challenge us along the way. Where are these thoughts coming from? But the thoughts come in and they challenge us along the way to say, is there not something more than what I'm experiencing? And so then we begin to turn within. Maybe peace, maybe joy is within us and that we have that. So we begin to go on that journey. And then we begin to connect with that more and more till eventually we come to this place. And I know I said this, but please feel the vibration of this. We come to this place where we say, how can God possibly be separate from me? How can life be separate from me? We talk about getting close to God. How close are you? Do you need to go to India to climb, the mountain and find God? Do you need to go to, a sacred temple, miles away or states away or countries away? Do you even need to move one single inch to experience God? because I would invite you to explore, if God created everything, and there's a verse in the Bible that says God created us in the likeness and the image of God, how can we possibly be separate from God? But yet we feel separate. We feel like, wow, what is all this stuff going on, all this stress, all this suffering? What is it? What the stress and suffering is our separation from God, believing that we're not the same. We've identified ourselves as somebody, and we go out looking to be somebody. We go out looking for the right job. And my brother, he's done very well for himself financially. By many people's measures, he would be considered a success, but he's so in his head and he drives me nuts. And I know he actually told me this. My brother and I, we have love, and we're probably our greatest teachers for each other. But he told me this. He told me that because financially my wife and I have struggled for many years, and we went through bankruptcy, and he said to his kids, "This is what you don't do." I'm like, oh, okay, well, thanks. Thanks for building my relationship with your children there. So that's what he said. And there's a part of me that still wants to prove, yeah, but you don't know this or you don't know that. You got all this knowledge, but what about wisdom? You got wisdom? These are the things that we do. And it's okay, but where are these thoughts coming from? Where are these thoughts coming from that keep telling us that? Because I'm inviting you to explore something deeper, because again, we say we're in control, I'm going to figure this out. Is it possible? Is it possible, just like when you're asleep at night and you're in the dream, that everything, this dream is being given to you exactly what you need, right? People have premonitions in their dream. People do dream analysis. They're looking at all these things. How is all this information coming? If we're in charge, how is all this information coming to us to show us something's off or to show us we're on the right path? All in this dream state. Something is coming through us. Does that something stop coming through us when we open our eyes? What is coming through us? I'm experiencing something that is just feels so profound to me right now. And that is just when I was riding over here, I've been having this experience a lot lately, but when I was riding over here and my mind was so busy saying, yeah, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? You know, hearing these thoughts, and I'm connecting with the stress and the suffering and something, you know, I've got to come to peace, and then I come back. I come back to the presence. I come back to the awareness, which is just watching and allowing all of these thoughts to come through without any struggle and fight. Knowing that whatever you want to call it, God, consciousness, or whatever, is bringing me the exact thoughts that I need for the experience that is needed. Can you hear that? By the way, I'm not here to convince you of anything. I truly am not. I'm not here to convince you in anything. I'm here to offer an exploration into who you are, really. And part of discovering who you are is to recognize that those thoughts coming through, are they you? Because this is the key thing of stepping beyond your mind. We're giving all these thoughts, and I've been very self-righteous a lot of my life. Still am, quite a bit, actually. And, Muji once said, there's nothing wrong with opinions unless you have an attachment to them, right? Then if you have an attachment to them, and we see that playing out in the political world, everyone has their strong opinions of what the truth is. Do we really know? Is everything actually in divine order? I hear people say it's all in divine order. My teacher, Sadashiva, would say there's not one single hair out of place in the universe. The mystic Robert Adams said, you can't even point your finger is that even your choice? You don't even have the choice of whether you point your finger. What? Well, wait a minute. How can that be? How can I be the one not making this choice? It's happening. I just chose that. I know I chose that. But the I that you're connecting with is the body and the mind, thinking that you're that thought that says, I just made the choice. Did you? Ram Dass, when he was, I believe he was in India, and I'm glad Layla's not here, because I'll probably, are you online, Layla? Let's see. Because I hope I don't mess this up, because I know Ram Dass has been her teacher. But Ram Dass was at an ashram, and he was with some other people, and he had been there for quite some time, and he said, I'm ready. I'm ready to leave the ashram. Would anybody like to join me? And there were several people that said, yeah, I'm ready to go as well. And so he hired a bus, and the bus came along, and they had traveled some ways, and the bus broke down out in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, okay, well, what do we do now, you know? And so one of the people that was on the bus said, I know this guru actually that lives just down the street from here. And it's not a long walk, and I think he would be happy to take us in. So Ram Dass said, okay, great. Let's all go over to, see this guru. So they go over there, and they knock on the house, and the servant was there, and he said, Master has been waiting for you. There's supper waiting for you. And he said, what? He said, Master's waiting for you. Please come join us. And I don't remember the exact number of people that were on the bus. I'll say 26. They walk into the dining area, and there are 26 plates set up for them. Who's in control here? Did Ram Dass create that? Was something else happening guiding him to that experience? Because I want to invite you to just explore the possibility we are not doing any of this. We are not the thoughts. We are not the body. We are not the feelings. We are not the experience, because there is something that is witnessing all of that. We talk about being one with God. What is God? We don't see God as this physical form, we see God as being a witness, being aware of the world, not fighting against it, being at peace with whatever is unfolding, because whatever is unfolding is exactly what needs to unfold. I hope I leave you with confusion. Because confusion is the gateway to something new presenting itself. And what I also want to say is, because when you're in the confusion, you also need a way out of the confusion. So the way out is to continue to ask yourself, who am I really? Who am I? Am I these thoughts? Am I this body? These things that, by the way, will all be gone someday. And we cannot be eternal if these things are leaving us. Is there something that never leaves us? Is there something that is us that is eternal? So the invitation is to ask yourself, continue to ask yourself, who am I? And the other invitation is to practice being aware. Practice awareness. Because when I'm meditating and I'm in the awareness, I don't care what thoughts come. I don't care what feelings come. Whatever, you can say whatever you want, Mr. Mind. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I can't hear you. Just like a little kid, we used to do that. But it's true. We don't need to listen to the mind. Is there a deeper intelligence that goes beyond the physical mind? Something that is eternal? That's the question. I feel more and more lately, life is just so good. It's just so good. I mean, everything we need is being handed to us over and over, even the thoughts, even those things that you call bad thoughts. It's all being given over to us to help us to realize, to fully realize the beautiful truth that we already are. It's here. You don't have to go out somewhere. And by the way, you don't have to wait for something else to happen. It is not earned. You do not have to have a certain amount of self-worth, or you do not have to, good news, you do not have to save the world in order to awaken to who you are. Who you are is here right now. It's never left you. It will never leave you. And so the question is simply, are you willing to let go of these old stories that say, this is who I am? Thank you.